Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to another live video. Today, guys, I want to talk about Nvidia stock and the fact that it's going up, but I want to talk about specifically on today's video. I want to talk about, is it more feasible to actually own Nvidia stock as an ETF or to actually own it as a individual stock? Right? Some people, I've read across a lot of people in the last several weeks who have told me, you know what? I don't own Nvidia stock as an individual stock because I don't like playing that game. But the game I don't mind playing is the game of just having an ETF and having Nvidia stock in my ETF, whether it takes up 3% the weight of the ETF, the overall ETF, or it takes up 10 or 20%. I'm still getting the advantage of having NVIDIA without taking the risk of owning the individual stock. So I said, let's stop for a minute. Let's do a video because we have a lot of folks out there that don't want to take the risk, would rather go ahead and just buy the stock or have the stock in an ETF. And I waited today to go to about 7:10 or 7:15 because I know that some of you might have been watching that press conference with the president addressing, coming from the NATO conference or what have you. And I just said, let me wait a little bit because I think that it may still be going on. I don't know, but I had to turn off of it because I'd heard enough. I see what's going on. And I said, let's go ahead and do a live video at 7:10 or 7:15. So here we are, guys. So I appreciate you being here with me. Let me know in the chat below, guys, if you where are you at? Where are you coming from? What city, what state, what county, what country? And also if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on X or Instagram, all those places, you can chime in also if you're able to get in the chat. So I want to talk about why on this quick video, it's not going to be a long live, guys, but I want to talk about why do you want to hold NVIDIA in an ETF as opposed to just having it as an individual stock? Why is it more attractive, or for some people more attractive as an ETF? We've talked a lot about Nvidia the last 3 or 4 weeks, but we really haven't explored the fact that it's in a lot of ETFs, right? And you don't have to necessarily take the risk of buying the individual stock, right? I also want to dig into and show you guys what ETFs have a lot of NVIDIA in them. And then we'll maybe do a little Q&A. You guys can put a Q in there. But I just want to have this conversation, guys, and I appreciate you coming in. Like I say, let me know in the comments when you tell me if you own NVIDIA as a single stock or an ETF, along with letting me know where you're checking in from, okay? Looks like we got, and I'll just kind of run through these real quick, guys. I might miss some folks, but hey, C-Dub, good to have you here. Let's see, Inglewood, up to no good. GRE Industries, good to have you here. Northeast Florida's in the house, good to have you. Hey, Ohio State, Art of War, good to have you. Appreciate your support. Chase Bandes, what's up? Blessings to you also. Somebody else, Natalie's from Ohio as well. Juan is, hey, what's up to you? Muhammad is in Wisconsin. Appreciate you, Muhammad. Thank you. Concord, Cali up in the house. Okay. Let's see. Buying some AVGO tomorrow. That's Broadcom. Chicago's in here at West Side, South Side. Where are you at? North Side. Toledo, Ohio. Denver, Colorado's here. Alaska. I'm sorry, Atlanta. James is from Atlanta. Let's see. Muhammad said he's originally from Egypt. Fantastic. Good to have you here. Winnipeg, Canada. So we got some folks from a lot of different places. Alvira's here. Good to have you. Queens, New York. Let's see, Namisha, how you doing? I am amazed how the past 10 years performance of Nvidia. Yeah, it's been amazing. Let's see here. See where we at. Somebody said both. Okay, some people have it as an individual stock and as a part of an ETF. Somebody said just Nvidia stock. Checking in from South Georgia. Half stocks, half ETF. Atlanta. Mrs. Moore. How you doing, Mrs. Moore? She said she has it in both. Hey, Starkville, Mississippi. Both of my parents are born in Mississippi, by the way. Orlando, Florida. Wilbert, good to have you here. Hey, bro. Daniel from Manhattan, Florida. Let's see. I own NVIDIA in my regular brokerage account as an individual stock and at Fidelity. Okay, Gary from Northeast Florida. Yeah, good to have you here. So we got some folks that own it. That's for sure, right? Here's why you want to own it, period. Let's clear the air for anybody that may not own NVIDIA or maybe on fence of an Nvidia saying, "Wow, I seen all these people talking about it. I read about it. I saw it. Why is everybody in this big frenzy about this old stupid stock?" Right? It's about the demand for AI, the demand for artificial intelligence that continues to grow. That's why everybody loves Nvidia. The demand for artificial intelligence, period, point blank, shut it down. That's it right there. That's the reason, right? Nvidia holds about 80%, maybe a little less now, but around 79, 80% of the overall AI market. And AI is everywhere. It's in, I don't care if you healthcare, you cars, you janitorial services. I don't care if you're whatever you do, right? Anywhere, pharmaceuticals, financial industry, cybersecurity, whatever. Everything you do is being affected by AI, and Nvidia has about 80% of that overall portfolio or industry, right? Nvidia is it's positioned in itself to benefit 3, 4, 5 years down the road and still be 70 to 80% of the overall AI market, right? But there are some tech ETFs out there. So the deal with Nvidia is it's expected to keep growing. Now we're in late July or mid July. What's going to happen is August. There's going to be another earnings report from Nvidia, and it's going to probably do extremely well again. We're going to see a boost in Nvidia, right? We know right now, guys, and as you know, I like to share my screen sometime. So let me just pull up Nvidia so we can see where Nvidia is today. Let's see, because I want to just kind of go through this. And if you're not over here on YouTube or able to see my screen here, I like to share screen. I'm going to share screen a little bit throughout this quick video. Okay, so NVIDIA Corporation, there we are today. Let me make myself small in the corner because I'm insignificant right now. NVIDIA is more significant. So trading at $127.40, right? We can look at it for the month, had a sort of a rocky little month, right? Sort of a rocky month. Last 6 months, still trending up. We know that. It's gonna keep trending up, period. Okay. So Nvidia is there. It's kind of remained steady for the last month, kind of fluctuating some things. But guess what? In my opinion, this is my humble opinion. I think Nvidia can double in the next year and a half or so. Maybe quicker than that, but I think it'll double. Um, I'm not telling you to go buy it necessarily. I'm saying do your homework. If it's something for you, you could maybe look into buying it. But I got a looking at all the numbers and so forth. I think it has a great chance to actually double because of the things that we're talking about. So, that's why we're trying to explore this thing, right? So it's going to keep growing. The revenue is going to increase. Um, sure, there's going to be some competitors, but the way they position themselves with new technology and being innovators, it's going to continue to grow. And how did it become on the top of the AI industry, right? How did it get to where it is, right? It's been poising itself for this moment probably for 30 years since it opened its doors in the gaming industry, right? Nvidia manufactures what they call GPUs, graphics processing units, right? And those are the units that's used to power AI applications. And GPUs are getting faster and faster and faster. You notice when you go to Chat GPT, you type something in, and all of a sudden you get a nice long answer in a matter of what, 10 seconds, 5 seconds? Well, that's going to be spit out in a matter of 2 or 3 seconds. That's going to be spit out quicker than that. That's just one example, right? But in addition to the GPU market, NVIDIA is also a leader in the development of new AI technologies. That's why people like it. That's why the numbers are what they are, because it's looking at new, forward-looking generative AI and all this other stuff, right? So they are involved in the technologies, the new technologies that are essential for making AI more readily available and accessible to me and you, regular people, not just these robotics people, right? But for me and you, and making it faster, making it more powerful, etc. Right? So it powers AI. NVIDIA is the company that powers AI, right? All right. So I just want to point that out. We know what it is. We has all it's forward looking. We've seen all the numbers. We've talked about it on this channel. but their track record of innovation moving forward is huge too. So that's some of the reasons why you want to have Nvidia in general. But now ETF, individual stock, right? We know it's been impressive with AI and machine learning, the GPUs, the data centers, right? Where all this stuff happens behind the scenes that powers Amazon and powers Microsoft and powers Google and powers many of the other big boys out there, right? We know it's strengthened the gaming market, right? Been there for 30 years. We know that it's made some partnerships and collaborations with other companies. We know about, supply chain issues. However, Nvidia still striving through the supply chain issues. We know about their finances, strong quarterly earnings in May, coming again in August, right? And it's consistently reported higher than expected revenue and profit margins. Now, some people say, "Oh, they fixed that." Well, they can fix it all they want, but the numbers is the numbers. You can change them and manipulate them here and there, but strong performance and good growth is strong performance and good growth. Top line revenue is top line revenue. Low debt is low debt. Like you can these things are right out there for us to see on the SEC's website and on Nvidia's website, right? Not to mention they're in a lot of different markets, right? So we know it's good. We know it's solid. Now let's talk about ETFs and these tech ETFs. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Let's talk about these tech ETFs that hold primarily lots of Nvidia stock, right? There's some tech ETFs out there that are major holders in Nvidia stock. Right. So I want to kind of talk about those just a little bit. Guys, let's get the likes up. If you can, smash that like button for me as you come in here. And do me a favor, check out the description box on YouTube. We got some free stuff in there, smartmoneybro.com website. We've got our membership website, the link to that, my schedule. You can get on my schedule. It's in the description box as well, where you can just jump on and ask me a question. Or you can do a longer one-on-one session where I take out an hour and a half, 2 hours to really dig in your personal financial situation, your stock portfolio, whatever. We take a look at all of it, and it's a flat basis fee. I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm not a stock guru. I'm not a tech guru. I'm not a stock individual day trader. I don't do Forex. I don't do any of that. None of it. Just a regular dude who understands some of this stuff and understands how to work directly with people in terms of their personal finance, lining it all up, making some pretty good decisions. I just made some good decisions over the years. I made a lot of bad decisions, but I made some really good decisions that took me from negative $30,000 net loss to a seven-figure net worth. And I just share some of that stuff with folks. So let's see what the chat here. 28. Thank you, Mrs. Moore, for saying that about the likes. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Price will go down some after split. Are we talking about Broadcom, perhaps? I'm late to the deal. Oh, by the way, let me share this with you guys. Guess what I just got 2 days ago? And I'm not ashamed of it. Some people look at me like, why are you talking about that? I had to get some ears, right? What do you call these things? Hearing aids. I got some hearing aids just a couple of days ago. Hey, I don't mind saying it here and telling you about it. Look, I'm not a young spring chicken like I was, right? So I just went out and got some hearing aids, and now I'm hearing sounds that I have not heard before. Like there's like these high pitched beeps coming from this monitor, and I've never heard that before until just a couple of days ago. So everything is like, even my voice right now while I'm talking, it's magnified. That's why I'm trying to talk a little lower and keep it down and not yelling to the mic. But it's just crazy. As you get older, things start to fall apart, right? Fall apart. Your hearing goes bad. They said I had moderate high frequency hearing loss, whatever that means, right? Just moderate, not major, not profound or anything like that. So moderate, but still, I couldn't hear these high frequencies and things that were happening all around me for a lot of years. You turn the TV up and the TV's on blast and it shouldn't be on blast, but you can barely hear it. So anyway, I went out and got those guys. I thought I'd share that with you. Kind of weird, but still. All right, let me go to the chat real quick before I dig into these specific tech ETFs where you can hold a lot of Nvidia in just an ETF as opposed to the risk. And when I say risk, let me just say this real quick. When you own an individual stock like Nvidia, here's where the problem comes in. It's not a problem. Sometimes it's a problem buying the stock at the right price because you don't know how to measure earnings per share versus revenue versus free cash flow and all that stuff. You don't really understand, am I buying it high or am I buying it at a good price, a more value price, right? But the biggest problem with buying a stock like Nvidia as an individual stock is you have to all of a sudden you have to learn and understand when to sell or when to unload shares. Let's say you end up having 100 shares of Nvidia. When do you know when to unload 20 shares and when not to unload 20 shares? When do you know if the stock has run its course and all of a sudden competitors have caught up to it in the year 2028 and 2029? All these competitors, when do you change your position in the stock? See, as an individual stock, these are things that you're if you don't study and learn and understand, you're just guessing at. And a lot of people lose money in the stock market with individual stocks by guessing. You don't have a team of 15 or 20 people around you, or 10 people, or even 5 people around you that can help you analyze the market, analyze the industry, analyze NVIDIA's position in the market, analyze competitors, analyze the fundamentals, right? In terms of the money or the revenue and the all that good stuff. You don't have people around you doing that when you buy an individual share of an Nvidia. So knowing when to hold and when to unload the stock becomes a problem for you. It doesn't become a problem in the beginning. You buy it, great, goes up a little bit, goes up a little bit, comes down, goes up, comes down, goes up. That's not the issue. The issue is on the back end of the stock. When you're 60 years old and you want to unload the stock, did you hold the stock too long and lose money? See, when you have an individual stock, you don't know this. You're not sure about that. And so a lot of times when you're dealing with individual stocks, you're sort of, unless you understand the market, you understand the fundamentals, you understand the industry and all that good stuff, it's kind of like you're upping your risk, right? There's more risk involved when you own an individual stock. However, when you own that stock as an ETF, you can sort of mitigate a lot of those risks. Let me go to the chat real quick, guys. Like I said, I would. All right. Hey, smart money, bro. I'm not getting your notification. Sunset on the ocean. I don't know. Sometimes I think YouTube un what do you call it? Unsubscribes people from channels that they've already subscribed to every so often. I'm not sure why they do that, but I've heard people say that happens, and I've seen it happen with things that I'm subscribed to as well. Let's see here. Jay, how you doing, Jay? Everyone, put something so 28. Okay, we already been there. Let's see. Only reason the hedge fund was in tech. Boom, boom, boom. Right. Okay, I'm reading all these things and I'm slurring my words, right? Somebody says I use AI keyword suggestion to update my resume this week. Congratulations to you on that. Let's see here. Alvira said, your humility is worth emulating. Heaven bless you. Thank you so much, Alvira. I appreciate that. I really, really do. Let's see. Glad I'm not too late for the stream. Hope all's good. The Willie Willow, how you doing there? Good to have you here, and thank you for your support. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of these ETFs that Junior's mentioning here in the chat. Somebody said making a killing, hearing aids, medical expenses are a tax write-off. You know what? It didn't cost me much, Namisha, because I have really good insurance. They paid most of it. I only came out of my pocket like $100 for 2 hearing aids. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I was blessed to have some pretty good insurance. So let's talk about these tech ETFs that are a major holder of Nvidia stock. Okay. So, and by the way, I mean, somebody was mentioning these hearing aids, but I used to talk like really, really loud, and you might have heard me. I mean, I don't know, on the YouTube channel here, like talking too louder than I should be talking. So now that I got these hearing aids, I can talk a lot softer. I can kind of hear myself talk. But anyway, I'm just going all into that. Sorry about that. Okay, so some tech ETFs are a big holder of Nvidia stock, guys, specifically in the AI sectors and also the semiconductor industries or sectors, right? So that's pretty important to know. AI ETFs obviously are a good solid fit for Nvidia, right? Nvidia stock fits into any of the specific AI type stocks or even technology. You see Nvidia kind of be a smaller player in the technology stocks or technology ETFs. But even this, some specific AI ETFs that it plays a larger role in. Okay. So, and I'll just mention a few. Maybe should I just type these in? I'll just type them in, right? I'll just type a few of them in here. Some of the tech stocks that are huge in that have a lot of Nvidia, right? Let's see here. Bam. Let's see here. VUG. Oh, SMH. And you can do your own research on these guys. You can do your own research. Oops, did I do that right? Yep. I'm typing in the chat. Isn't that pretty neat? FDG has a lot of it too. That's the American Century. Oops, put a small G. So that's just a few of them that have a large amount of Nvidia in them. And did I put BOTZ has a lot of them also. I think BOTZ has more like 9 or 10%. BOTZ is an ETF. There's also and that's more on the AI ETFs. Then you have some, the semiconductors. I think somebody mentioned, we mentioned that one already. Van Eck, good. So you got so there are specific ETFs that kind of target specific sectors that Nvidia plays in. All right. I think another one I think is no, that doesn't have very much. XLK, I think it only has about 4 to 5% of Nvidia. But somebody said they like VGT. So VGT, I believe, and help me with this. I think and I think I have some VGT. VGT is Vanguard. So VGT is the technology Vanguard stock. Matter of fact, since we're talking about that, let me actually see if I can't pull up some VGT. All right, give me a second. Let me share my screen with you guys. These are ETFs that have large amounts of tech and large amounts of Nvidia. So we're looking at VGT right now. So VGT, and I think I still own VGT. I'm pretty sure I still own VGT. Let me go over here and look. Yeah. Yeah, I do have some VGT. Had to go look, guys. What can I say, right? I don't remember everything. I got a bunch of ETFs. So expense ratio 0.10, not the lowest, not the highest, not too bad. Market price of VGT has gone up a lot in the last really last 2 years or so. It's gone up quite a bit. You'll see here. I'm going to scroll down because I want to show you what's in the portfolio of VGT. If I can find the portfolio composition, there it is right here. So specifically in VGT, here's the sectors that's in there, right? 13% of it is application software. I think we have 29 or 30% of it is semiconductors. So VGT is solid. The thing is that there's a lot of competition. Now, there's not a lot of competition that's at the level Nvidia is at. But when you go down and look at the specific breakdown, you've got Microsoft has about 16% of VGT. Apple has about almost 16% of VGT, and Nvidia has about 14% of VGT. So if you got VGT as an ETF, then you're talking about what, 45% of it is wrapped up into 3 companies, right? Is that 45, 29? Yeah, 45. And then you add in Broadcom. Now you got 50% of VGT is wrapped into 4 companies that hold the 50% or half the weight of the bucket. Remember, if you don't invest in ETFs, ETFs is just a bucket of stocks that holds a bunch of different companies inside the bucket, right? And when you go to invest or choose a technology ETF, then when you go to choose a semiconductor ETF or any of these ETFs, you don't have to do a lot of individual research on each individual company in the bucket. You just want to research the actual ETF itself, right? You want to research the actual ETF itself. So in terms of when you look at an ETF like VGT, and I'm calling out VGT specifically, you want to look at the expense ratio. VGT's expense ratio is 0.10, whereas VOO's expense ratio is like 0.003, right? So It's a little bit higher, but it's not out of the question. VGT's expense ratio is not very high at 0.10. But you also want to look at what category it's in: small cap, mid cap, large cap. Is it a value? Is it a growth? Most of your technology ETFs are going to be growth ETFs because they usually expect to have some higher than normal, higher than average growth throughout the next, year, 5 year, 3 year, et cetera. Right. So you also want to look at the past performance. One thing I didn't do on VGT, but let me go back to VGT because I want to show you something, guys. I want to show you the performance of VGT. Since we're talking about VGT and Nvidia is 14% of VGT, look at the past performance of VGT. In the last, let's see here, 1 year, it's up 31%. Huge. I mean, just ginormous. 3 years, it's up almost 14%. Now, the reason 3 years is always a little bit lower nowadays because we all had a disastrous year back in 2022, right? But when you look at the 5 year and the 10 year for VGT, we're talking 20 and 23%, guys. That's enormous returns on your money, right? Even since its inception back in 2004, for the last 20 years, it's outperformed the average the S&P 500 or the total market, right? It's outperformed it. So when you look at these technology stocks where Nvidia plays a large role, they typically have done excellent over the last, several, 5, 10, 15 years. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick and go back over here and hit that. So much going on in front of me. So you got XLK. I don't know if I put them up there earlier, but you know, right now in the S&P 500, if you own an S&P 500 ETF and it's a weighted ETF, the S&P 500 ETF, I think Nvidia is around, and you guys can help me. Maybe it's around 6% of the weight in the S&P 500. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of. I think there's another one out there. I think, and you guys help me with this. Anybody own any SPY? Is SPY? Do they hold a lot of Nvidia as well? I think they do. Let's see here. Give me a second here. Just want to take a quick look. Let's see. About 6 or 7% is what Nvidia holds in there. So let's go back here, and I'm just jumping around, looking back at the chat, guys. Let's see here. Pistol Pete, pay monthly dividends. These are good. It's bullish. Would you throw 40K in Nvidia right now versus an ETF? Depends on which ETF. Okay. Pistol Pete. No, that was Kyle that asked that. Kyle, would I throw 40K? That depends on a lot of things, Kyle. How much more money do you have invested? Do you have $1 million invested somewhere? Do you have 500,000 invested? How diversified are you, Kyle? Kyle, if you only have two stocks, Broadcom and Nvidia, and you have about $60,000 total invested to your name in your life, would I put 40,000 in Nvidia? No, I would not. If you've got $500,000 and you have 300,000 of that is in ETFs, good growth ETFs, or even value ETFs, and then you have an extra 40,000 that you want to put in because you own 3 or 4 or 10 stocks or 15 stocks and you want to put 40K in Nvidia, that's a different story. So there's a lot of factors, Kyle, that play into that. And so that answer is based on your personal situation. It's based on how old you are. It's based on your risk tolerance. It's based on a lot of factors. And so that's why that question, I can't really come out and give you a point blank answer to it because there's so much that goes into that answer. Let's see here. Somebody said Round Hill Max 7 ETF. Let's see, Mags. Okay, Mags, the Max 7 ETF. I have FTEC. Great. I mentioned, so if I mentioned a few of these above, guys, or actually I put them in the chat, some of these, right? Ticker symbol SHOC. I think I put ticker symbol SMH in there. I'm pretty sure I put SMH, WGI, FDG. You name it. Did I put some others in there? Let me just put a bunch of them in there. If you guys are okay with that, I'll put some ticker symbols in there. These are technology ETFs that hold quite a bit of Nvidia. Okay. Did I put XLK? I'm not sure. VCAR. Actually, I have a small list. I made a typo in the chat. Okay. Oh, Chip. I think I forgot about Chip. Chip is a pretty good one as well, and it has quite a bit as well. Um, and some of these are not very expensive ETFs. Some of these are under $100 ETFs, and I did all the research on them. I'm not going to go through each one of them one on one, but and so I'm not going to go. Some of them are semiconductors, some of them are specific to AI, etc. So, well, here's what I'm saying: you have options. Don't think that just because you didn't get in on Nvidia when it was trading at, comparatively speaking, before or after the split, if when it was trading for $30, you didn't get in on it, right? You didn't get in on it until right before the split when it was $1,200, and some people got in on it and bought a bunch of shares at, 40 bucks and 50 bucks before it went way up. That does not mean that you missed out. It's not too late, in my opinion, my humble opinion, to actually invest in Nvidia and still see some major gains, but also cover your backside a little bit in terms of the risk that would be associated with individual single stocks when you're trying to buy shares of Nvidia. And you do that by buying it in ETFs. ETFs, right? The market for artificial intelligence is expected to have some strong growth in the not just in the coming year, but in the coming decade, right? Listen, they are anticipating that the AI market is going to go from, I think I read at 100 billion to nearly 2 trillion in the next 5 or 6 years. Okay. So 100 billion times 20 is 2 trillion. I think I got that right? It takes 2,100 billions to get to 2 trillion. So my point is that this thing is just getting going. It's not too late, right? And if you say to yourself, hey, I want to own it, but I don't want to own it in the risk. I don't want to own it in such a risky way where, oh my gosh, I'm not sure when to do this, when to do that. Now listen, let's be flat out with this, guys. Let's be flat out. If you want to take the risk of owning Nvidia, I'm not mad at you. I just want you to make sure that you are diversified and you spread your risk around, don't have all your money in one stock, right? But you can do it how you want to do it, right? Look, I think one of them I mentioned earlier, BOTZ, ticker symbol BOTZ, that one gained, that went up like 25% in 2023 back then alone, back then, a year and a half ago or so, right? Right? So there's room to grow with some of these AI, ETFs. Remember, Nvidia is powering self-driving cars, it's powering robotics, it's powering gaming PCs, right? It's powering all of these things. It's going to power doing what's those things where they put gel on your stomach when babies are born? What's that thing? Sonograms, right? It's going to be powering the pharmaceutical industry. AI with Nvidia is going to be powering some of these upcoming technologies that are new. Robotics. Now, robotics is not new, but some of the advances in robotics are new, right? Therefore, when you look at some of these AI ETFs and some of these not tech ETFs like what I say, not MGK, but the other one, V that I just looked at, VGT, right? We look at VGT, and I think MGK is another uh, uh, tech ETF from Vanguard. When you look at those things, guys, Nvidia, while it's only playing 4, 5, 8, 10% in some of those, it's still a nice chunk, right? But you have to weigh, just like anything else, you have to weigh the risk. You have to do your research. You got to check it out. You got to make sure you're on the ball. You got to do all that stuff. But the beauty is that when you're investing in ETFs, it makes your research much, much easier because you don't have to look at, listen, if you're going to invest in Nvidia as a single stock, you need to be looking at free cash flow. You need to be looking at top line revenue. You need to be looking at earnings per share. You need to be looking at the PE ratio, price over earnings, right? You got to be looking at all of these types of things to sort of know some of the fundamentals, because you don't want to be investing in Nvidia as a single stock on some emotional whim or some what they call irrational exuberance, right? Everybody gets hyped up about it. It's all you hear about or read about. Next thing you know, you're excited and you're investing in an emotional way. That ain't intelligent investing, right? If we talk to Benjamin Graham, who wrote the book in The Intelligent Investor, which I'm reading that again right now. When you look at when you go back and look at what makes an intelligent investor, it's about doing things opposite from your human nature, some of this human behavior, right? And so the human nature says everybody's excited. Now's a good time to buy. And some people will say human nature says, well, wait, if everybody's buying, now may not be a good time to buy. And what's happening is you're all in it with emotion as opposed to being in it with rationale, reasonable thinking, looking at the numbers, looking at projections, right? Looking at the stock forward price and all that good stuff. So slow that down and do your own research, right? Make sure you do your own research. What else? There's some other ones out there, guys. XLK. I think, let me see what XLK has. Give me a second. I think XLK. Let me look up XLK stock. XLK is Technology Select Sector Spider Fund, trading at $231 per share today. What are the holdings here? How much Nvidia is in that stock? Without me digging in, I won't dig too deep into that one. But DARP, XUTC, SOX, SOXX. That's another good. These are all good ETFs. And I would pull up each one of them, but we'd be here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours with me pulling up all the different iShare ETFs and so forth. But again, BOTZ, SOXX, DARP, ticker symbol XUTC. I said ticker symbol SMH. I said ticker symbol XLK. I said ticker symbol VCAR. And I think I said ticker symbol CHIP, CHIP. And of course, don't forget SHOCK, ticker symbol SHOC. These are all ETFs that carry a nice amount of Nvidia. Not forgetting some of the technology stuff, right? I think the technology over at Vanguard would be VGT and MGK, right? So the question becomes, is it more feasible and is it more safe for you to invest in Nvidia as an ETF versus a single stock? I'm going to go back to the chat here, guys. I hadn't been in the chat in a while. Let's see here. Keep in mind to be nimble with Nvidia. If it closed, if it boom. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Nvidia. Let's see. No, I read that already. Let's see here. QQQ and VOO. Okay, VOO specifically is the S&P 500 of Vanguard. And QQQ is QQQ the S&P over at Invesco? Let's see, what is QQQ? Because I hear about QQQ all the time. Yes, QQQ is yeah, it's technology, I believe. It's like it's technology. Let's see here. So, and of course, we know VOO is the S&P over at the S&P over at Vanguard, right? So QQQ is, I think QQQ might be is it the Nasdaq? Is that who QQQ follows? Is it Nasdaq? Nasdaq, I think it is. Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay. So that's what QQQ is. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Okay. ETFs are more than small. So see, SMH is 19.95%, Nvidia at 7.78, Broadcom at 7.78. Okay, so SMH has quite a bit of Nvidia in it. Thanks, Junior, for bringing that out. I appreciate that. Let's see here. No, it depends on your age, risk, temperament, and income. Absolutely. So I said a few of them. Man, I typed into the chat. That was weird. Okay. Let's see here. I'm more individual right now. Some ETF shares. Appreciate that, T Light. Appreciate you. instead of the heavy. Let's see here. Boom, 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 my second favorite YouTuber. Hey, the Mad Cry. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm your second favorite YouTuber. Yes. Let's see. I'm at 100 shares of Nvidia at 119. Aretha said, okay, congratulations to you. Hey, listen, get those likes up, guys. You got to hit this thumbs up for me if you don't mind, please. I really would appreciate that more than you know. Just take a moment out of your time and tap that like button for me. And if you know somebody that's interested in investing in single stocks or investing in Nvidia, please share this information with them. Just share the link to the video. I really, really would appreciate it. It's not going to be a very long video. My long videos are an hour and a half, so I'm not going to be here that long. But I just wanted to impress upon you guys that there's more than one way to own a stock, and there's more than one way to own Nvidia, right? Nvidia as an ETF can be attractive because of what? Again, risk mitigation. When you own Nvidia as an ETF, you're not putting all your money and investing into a single stock. So you reduce your risk. Now Nvidia's in a bucket of stocks and it may hold 15, 20% of the weight in that bucket. But if Nvidia goes down and gets out of that bucket, don't trip, don't worry. You still got other stocks to make up for the performance of that. Also, you like ETFs, Nvidia in an ETF because of, again, broad exposure, right? Due to this bucket of stocks, broad exposure, right? Now, some of you say there's some semiconductor ETFs and there's some uh, specific technology specific ETFs, right? And those are cool. Those are cool. Nothing wrong with those at all. But you can also get it in a more broader ETF and not so much a specific ETF. And also not to mention that ETFs are just mirroring the market, guys. ETFs are just mirroring what's happening in the market. Now, the problem with ETFs is you have to understand, I got to give you the pros and the cons. Listen, if you invest in Nvidia inside of an ETF, you are not going to see the large returns. You're going to miss out on some of those really, really large returns that happen when you own it as an individual stock. Remember, less risk, less reward. So because you're lowering and mitigating your risk by owning Nvidia in an ETF, you're also lowering your possibility of having these really, really wild high returns. Now, you have to remember that, right? You have to understand the cost of owning an ETF is not just the expense ratio. The cost of owning an ETF is missing on some of those potential high returns. But the beauty is, the trade off is you also miss some of those potential lows. Now, when you look at the technology sector in general, remember the performance of technology has been off the chisel, off the chain, off the chisel, whatever you want to call it, in the last 5, 10, 15 years. So we looked at VGT earlier and we said VGT since 2004 has a 14% return, right? Well, okay, so that's great. That's all dandy, all good and dandy. But if the technology sector pulls back quite a bit for some reason, I don't think it will necessarily, but if it does, you don't have to deal with those lows if you own an ETF, but you won't get those highs. You always have to keep that in mind when you own an ETF. It's safer, less risk for a reason. Safer and less risk because you ain't going to experience some of the highs you're going to experience if you own it as an individual stock. You're just going to get the highs that it'll give you as a technology ETF, which may be better than the regular stock market, the S&P 500, but you ain't going to see a 300% return on Nvidia when you have it in an ETF, right? Unless the whole bucket of stocks gets pulled up 300%, which probably won't happen, right? So always keep that in mind. Right now, Jay said Nvidia is cooling off for a while. It's just laying low is what it's doing, in my opinion. And it's laying low because we got another earnings report coming up here shortly. And when that other earnings report gets near and there's some anticipation, we could see another boost in it. Me personally, if you want to know what I personally think, I think it's very possible that Nvidia can double. And I think it can double by the end of 2025. That's my personal opinion. Don't beat me up. but the trajectory of the numbers is what we'll keep an eye out. There'll be a 10Q, like I said, I think August 23rd or something like that, and we'll see. Do I see Nvidia doing another split in the future? Somebody said earlier, about 13 minutes ago. Um, Perhaps, absolutely, absolutely. If it doubles and triples in the next couple of years, quadruples, I could see them doing another split maybe at about, 900 or 900 or $1,000 or so per share. That's going to be a 10 or almost a sevenfold from where it is right now. But I do think that they could be in for another split down the road. I just think their position is that strong forward looking, right? Let's see. Somebody said Nvidia is a 5-year hold. Fantastic. Nvidia is a 10-year hold. Let's see here. How many influences do Stephen Griffin? What are you talking? Stevie says Stewie Griffin. Let's see. 1 trillion for second place at Butcher. Not sure what you're talking about, Steve Stewie, but I'm gonna have to get you out of here, man. Bap. I don't know. I probably didn't read all. He probably was a nice guy. Sorry, Stewie. Probably was a nice guy. My fault. Sorry, Stewie. When I do that, it bans somebody from the channel, so we'll never see Stewie again. If I made a mistake, you guys let me know. Say Stewie was a good guy. I might have missed. I might have made a mistake. Somebody said I'm buying Amazon tomorrow. Great, congratulations. Jay said can't get too attached to a stock. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Right. But listen, the other thing to think about with ETFs is that you can trade ETFs just like you do with individual stocks, guys. It's not like you can buy Nvidia in an index fund too, which is also a bucket of stocks, but you can trade with your ETF. You can do a lot of fancy stuff with ETFs that a lot of people don't do. They just buy the ETF because it's low barrier to entry. It's easy to get into an ETF, but you can do a lot of things with ETFs, right? And typically ETFs carry a little bit lower fees. Maybe there's some tax advantages to ETFs as well. But the beauty of owning NVIDIA in an ETF is something that we just have not explored on this channel enough. Excuse me. I own 50 shares, am him. Let's see, FETC holding 14.83% of that bucket is NVIDIA. Thanks for bringing that out, Buddha. Let's see, Jay. Let's see. Okay, so QQQ is MAG. Okay, QQQ is MAG. Okay, the big MAGs in the NASDAQ. Okay, let's see here. Appreciate you letting me know that. Just compare QQQ with VTI. Very similar, but VTI has a little better return. VTI is the total stock market ETF at Vanguard. So you said Namisha did a comparison on the comparison deal to see which is which, and VTI is slightly better return. Invesco's QQQ follows the bag. Okay, yep. NASDAQ. Yep, I'm all behind, guys. I tell you, I'm way back. Thanks for the good objective content. Appreciate you. No problem. Thank you so much for being a listener here. Too many YouTubers sell the pump. I ain't selling you no pump. Now I'm telling you, look, Nvidia has some very good financials, but please get out there and do your own research. Don't take my word for it. I'm no expert. I am no stock market expert. That's not the point of me being here and helping you guys. I'm just trying to get you guys to the point where you can be better at investing your money in either individual stocks or ETFs. And you got to look at the trade-off of both, right? You got to look at the trade-off, because sometimes we just get in the habit and we say, let me go buy some. You would not believe the amount of people that I talk to who only own Nvidia. They don't have any other ETFs. They only own Nvidia, right? That's a problem. And I try to explain that to people, that is a problem, right? You cannot just own one stock. You are breaking all types of fundamentals of the stock market, right? That's like going out on the basketball court barefoot, right? You breaking all the rules of basketball by going out on the basketball court barefoot, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just breaks all the rules. That's like going out into the baseball. You want to go play first base with no glove, right? You don't wear no glove. You don't wear no you all the fundamentals of how to stretch and catch and how to how to catch a pop up. Look, all those things go out the window because you don't have a glove, right? And so sometimes that's what happens in the stock market world. We walk out there and we see everybody hyped up on one stock and we go buy a stock. And that just breaks all the fundamental rules of how you should be investing your money, right? and you leave yourself open and susceptible to a lot of issues and problems and losses and etc. Right? Somebody said, my sister is leaving Vanguard and going to Schwab due to fees. Yeah, Vanguard's had its issues. I really like Vanguard. Yes, Vanguard is not the same company it was back in 1990. John Bogle passed away right in his 90s, the founder of Vanguard. But I still have a substantial amount of what I do over on Vanguard. But I'm actually playing on all three of the big platforms: Fidelity, Schwab, and Vanguard. So I'm in a little bit of both, or all three actually. Let's see. I can see in by quarter, 1/4 of 21. Nvidia going double, but not going to be this year. Yeah, Jay, I don't think it'll be this year. I think it'll be a few more quarters of good earnings and so forth. And I think Nvidia, I'm not Nvidia, but AI is sort of picking up. It's kind of hype, a little bit of luster. It's going to be hype again, but it's going to get to the point where it stays up there as a really important, huge industry. But here's the beauty. Here's the beauty. Nvidia is in a lot of different places. It's not just playing in the semiconductor space. It's playing in a lot of different spaces, right? So it's everywhere, right? So just keep that in mind as well. Let's see here. Somebody said, don't watch Mad Money. I don't know about that. I'm still new in the stock market, said Seth. I have Nvidia. Uh, I have Nvidia buy stock on June 2nd and Palantir this month. I will buy Walmart. I use this single stock just Easter to control. Not sure what you mean by that, Seth, but Seth, make sure you buy a good amount of stocks in a number of different sectors. If you're buying individual stocks, a good amount of stocks in a number of different sectors. Know what your core values are, know what your strategy is, know what you're looking for in companies, know how long you plan to hold these stocks, know what your risk tolerance level is, understand how to read if it's not 10 Qs, at least understand how to read some of the financial information on, say, a Morningstar or on a Yahoo Finance, wherever you get this information from. So take your time, be careful, but also don't forget, Seth, about the fact that you can also lower your risk by investing in ETFs. Don't lose sight of that. Okay. Don't lose sight of that. Very important. Good point, Seth. Appreciate it. Somebody said, what about the idea of dollar cost averaging with Nvidia as a single stock? C-Dub, there's nothing wrong with dollar cost averaging into Nvidia as a single stock, but just make sure, matter of fact, I always tell you that if you're a new investor, yes, please dollar cost average into whatever you're investing in, whether it's ETFs, whether it's single stocks. You always want a dollar cost average, but you never want to have in your holding one stock. That's a mistake, right? So dollar cost average into 10 stocks, dollar cost average into 20 stocks, right? Dollar cost average into an ETF that has a bucket of 80 or 90 stocks, right? 100, 200, 500, right? But dollar cost average is great, but don't just dollar cost average into one stock. Spread it around. Spread it around. Let's see here. Nvidia is solid, but some people could be putting too much money into it. Yes, you're right about that. I think you're right about that. Some people have succumbed to what everybody calls irrational exuberance. I don't know the stock, but I saw them really hyping it up on MSNBC and on these two stock channels I watch. Forget about the research. Nah, who cares about free cash flow? I don't care about that. I just want to go make some fast money. And that's when you leave yourself wide open to losing money fast when you try to make fast money. Let's see. ETFs are great for people who don't really want to keep up with the tedious flow. Right. Exactly. This is my point. Thanks for saying that, Sherlock. If you don't want to stock watch every day, see what's going up, see what's going down, have a little stress here, more stress there, more anxiety, ETFs might be the best play for you. ETFs or index funds might be the best play for you. Right. So wonderful. Thanks for saying that, Sherlock. I appreciate that. So just trying to bring some common sense to this thing called investing, right? Some common sense to this thing called investing. That's what we're trying to do here, guys. buy Nvidia stock as an individual stock or just buy it in an ETF. Your choice. But there's a lot of ETFs out there that have a nice chunk of their weight in Nvidia, right? We know that Nvidia has the strong track record, all that good stuff. But ETFs might be the most easiest, convenient way for you to get out there and do it. If you want to go buy or do your research on SMH, go do it. You want to do your research on BOTZ, go do it. You want to do your research on some of these individuals or some of these individual ETFs that I mentioned, right? Even like I think I did not mention SEMI. SEMI. That's an iShare. It's a global semiconductor ETF. Didn't mention that one either, right? But these ETFs hold lots of Nvidia inside of them. Lots of Nvidia. I had a bunch of things I was going to go and pull up here, guys. I haven't pulled up hardly anything. Let me see if I can pull up a couple things real quick before I get you out of here on this. I pulled up a few things, but not nearly as many as I was. Let's see here. Nvidia could be headed for a seismic moment, another 3 trillion in market cap. That was a story I checked out, I think, yesterday, where we have certain analysts coming out to say, hey, Nvidia could triple, in the next year or so and go up to 6 trillion, 7 trillion, way beyond Microsoft and all that good stuff. So I don't want to hold you guys too long on this video. I just wanted to give you an idea to let you know, give you this idea that you need to get ready, get ready, get ready. Nvidia stock is going to keep going up. Yes, I know it hit a lull in the last month, right? But that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal at all, based on how they're positioned and what they have coming up and all that good stuff and their fundamentals and all that good stuff. You wait until August 23rd, late August, as we get closer and closer to their earnings report. And you'll see. You'll see. It might happen before that, but you got to make that decision. Do you want to just own it in an ETF, or do you want to have the single stock, or do you just not want to play in this game? Is there anybody in the chat that does not want to own Nvidia and says, no, I'm not even playing in this game? Let me know in the chat below if you said, I am not touching Nvidia right now. Tell me if that's you in the chat. I want to know if we have anybody out there that says, no, I'm done. I'm good. I'm going to let you guys fight about it until it all settles down. Then I may get it. But unless it comes down to $90, $80 or something like that, I'm not getting. Is there anybody that says I'm not buying Nvidia? Let me know in the chat below or the chat box. And if you're sitting here on on Facebook, I can't really see the chat. Hey, somebody said happy birthday. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was a few days ago. Appreciate you. Let's see. Somebody said ETFs all day. All day. Somebody said I own 3K. Let's see. NVDA. Somebody says dollar cost average all day. I've got that. Somebody said you have to be insane. Frank said you have to be insane not to own some Nvidia right now. Somebody says I'm out on Nvidia 2 days ago. I saw this coming, waiting for the dip to go back in. So somebody's out, right? Somebody's out. Frank says that's insane to be out of Nvidia. What in the world? Somebody says I am layawaying. How are you layawaying Nvidia? I haven't even said the word layaway in about 20 years. How are you layawaying Nvidia? Talk to me about that, Batman. Appreciate you. Let's see. That's right, Pistol Pete. Let's see. I'm waiting for another dip so I can buy more. What type of dip are you waiting on? Are you waiting for it to come down to 118, 115? You may be waiting a while on that one. We'll see what happens. Somebody says, don't be that person waiting for Nvidia to get to $90, and it actually does. You don't even have the capital to take advantage. Yeah, you want to make sure you have the capital. People have to remember that after the split, the stock isn't going to move 10, 20. Yes, that's true. That's true. This is absolutely true, said J Third. When a company when a company is trading at 1,900 to 1,200, we see large swings in the stock price, right? $50 a day, $100 a day, right? But when that stock gets split, like tomorrow, we'll see a split. Is it tomorrow or Monday? We'll see a split of Broadcom. Broadcom, I think, is traded at over $1,700, somewhere up there, and it has these big swings. You don't see those big swings when the stock split happens, right? The swings are much smaller, and some people look at that and say, "Oh, it's losing momentum." Not really, right? It's just the swings are a lot smaller, so you can't be fooled by that. But there's a lot of shares out there right now. I think the market is sort of catching up to Nvidia. Nvidia shot out at 130 something, 139, 135. There was a sell off, and now it kind of settled at a spot, and now it's poised to move. That's my opinion too, Jay. Thanks for saying that. We got two Jays in the house. Jay said, I'm in it, but not buying more until that it hits that 118 mark. Jay, you might be waiting a little bit on that. We'll have to see about that. No, I'm somebody. Okay, so Hebrew said, no, I'm not buying Nvidia. So there we go. ETF is better than individual stock. Hebrew, I totally get it. I'm a big ETF index fund person myself. So I totally understand that thought process that you don't want to take the risk of owning a single stock, because then you have to understand all of the good stuff when to sell or get out of that stock ultimately, right? And a lot of people make that mistake at the end of a stock, at the end of a life cycle, a life holding cycle of a stock. They don't get out in time, they get out too soon, they get out too late, and they lose a ton of money, right? Just because everybody knows when to get in a stock. It's very obvious. It's not very obvious, but you either get it low or you get it when everybody's high and you hold it and wait, right? We all know that, right? But when to unload the stock is where the real gamesmanship comes in, is where the real solid, savvy investor turns up the notch a little bit. When to actually get rid of the stock, leave the stock, sell the stock, right? Let's see, old school tactics. When is the best time to buy when stock is dropping? In the morning or wait until closure? That's a good question. Let's put that to the test. Anybody want to give a shot at that one? When is the best time to buy? And I'll let you guys. You can answer Naimia in the chat. I think it's Naimia in the chat, right? Hey, appreciate that, William Wade. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Somebody says, I'm in on the Broadcom split. Yeah, so it's after the weekend. You're in on the Broadcom split, said Jay. Fantastic. Nvidia hit the lowest today. Man, it went down a little bit today. Let's see. I got 2 shares of Broadcom. 2 shares are going to turn into 20 shares here in a few days. Let's see here. Do I see it? Yep. I do see it hitting another stock split. Ultimately, I think Nvidia will do a stock split. It'll be a few years, obviously, right? See, people need to keep an eye on Taiwan semiconductor stock. Yes, that one's huge, right? TS, what is that? TS, what's the ticker symbol on that one? That's a big one as well. Do your research. I appreciate that in the chat. Thank you so much for adding that. You guys, this chat is incredibly valuable to anybody who wants to watch and learn and start their research. Very, very valuable. Appreciate you guys giving us all this great information in the chat section. So apparently a lot of you did not watch that presidential address regarding NATO. You guys decided to come on over here. I appreciate you being here too. Yeah, I had to turn off that myself. Yeah, pretty rocky there. Let's see. Buy stocks during the day. Okay, Hebrew, buy stocks during the day. SMH, big time. Look into that one, guys. Best time to buy is after 10 a.m. Yeah. You got a lot of manipulation that happens early in the trading day. That's for sure. Let's see. Depends on if you're. Why are they manipulating the trading? Because there's lots of options and puts and options that are out there, puts and calls that are out there, and people want to get things done in a way that gets things off to that type of start. Let's see. Trump. Let's see. Buy stock. Buy stock when it hits support. Not sure what you're saying there, Jay. Okay, somebody said, is it better to buy Broadcom before the split or after the split? Broadcom trading at about 1,800% right now. Let me actually pull it up so I can tell you the actual amount. Let's see here. Broadcom is trading at about 1,705, and they're going to do a split coming up, a 10-to-1 split. Should you buy it before or after? That's totally up to you. I do not have an answer for that. It's totally up to you. Okay. Keep in mind that a split is just a split. It doesn't add any value to what you own. If you own it before the split, doesn't add any value. It says it's trading at $1,700 today, and tomorrow you're going to have 10 shares at $170 each. Six and one half dozen or the other, whatever that saying is. So it doesn't. So for you, you need to just, okay, do you want to buy it at $1,700 and just wait until it splits and now you have 10 shares? Or you got to decide that. It's no consequence one way or the other. So I don't have really a good answer for that. KC in the house. Good to have you here. Market going higher, now stopping in fall. Let's see. I already have 2 shares of MicroStrategy. Apparently, I don't even remember buying. Interesting. I have Nvidia individual stock and VTI, SPLG, and SCHG. Good for you. Let's see. I will watch it delay the presidential press thing. Yeah. Yeah, not looking good, dear Alvira. What can I say about that right there? Somebody says support the candle is the candlestick floor. I'm not a big candlestick guy, so I don't read the stock market like I don't read the candlesticks for any type of information here. This fall will be crazy. I'm going to wait until after the split to get into AVGO, which is Broadcom. So, the Broadcom split is tomorrow. Okay, okay. I thought it was the 12th. Yeah, it's the 12th. So, yeah, it's a psychological decision. Somebody said, right? So we'll have to see what happens there. So here's the deal. You got to make a decision if you want to own a stock individually or if you want to own it in an ETF. That's totally your decision. Things to think about, right? Things to think about. Risk. ETFs are less risk. Individual stocks, more risk, right? Individual stocks, less diversification. Individual stock. If you own Nvidia as an individual stock. ETFs, more diversification. ETFs, easier to actually do your research on because you're buying the bucket. Individual stocks, you need to be doing your research for the actual individual stock itself, right? Understanding everything you can understand about an individual stock. Now, in the description box below, there is a link. That link takes you to our member site where I just did another video there yesterday talking about the cloning strategy, right? Which is one of the strategies that I'm going to employ as I make a move on the individual stock picking lifestyle. I'm going to get into it, and you guys who are paid members over there, you're going to join me over there. Now, you can go over there and join. There's 3 different tiers you can join it over there. You can join in the free. You can join in 1 level tier. You can join in the 3rd level tier. The 3rd level VIP tier is the tier where I can have conversations with you directly regarding your own personal financial situation, because we know personal finance is personal. Everybody's, portfolio, risk tolerance, age, situation is all different. So the top level VIP, I'll have a conversation with you once a month for 20 minutes. Usually goes more than 20 because as you can tell, I talk a lot, right? So that's over there on that other site. Check it out. Also in the description box below is my partner on this video, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile. I have had them for about 7 or 8 months now. Excellent, excellent, excellent customer service. I'm a fan. I'm a user of Mint Mobile. So yes, check that out as well. And somebody asked me about my phone in the background. Somebody said, "Does that phone work?" I said, "Yeah, I'll call it for you and show you that it works." Somebody asked me about that. I think is the ringer on? The ringer's on. I told you it works. Let me turn the ringer off. Yellow. Just kidding, guys. Somebody asked me about that in the comment section. Does that phone actually work? Yeah, that phone actually works. I do have a landline. Call me old school if you want. That's okay. I don't mind. But so I don't know where I thought about that, but it just came to my mind. So let me call that just to show you guys that it actually does work, believe it or not. But anyway, so you can beat me up about it in the chat section if you want. I know some of you get a kick out of that old phone, but it's a solid phone. You got a volume on it and everything. I think they must have had it in the office about 30 years ago or so, because it has all the bells and whistles on it, literally. But So anyway, guys, I just wanted to point out to you, make a good decision, take your time, be patient, learn as much as you can learn. Do not panic, right? If we see Nvidia go down to $110 per share tomorrow, please, please, please do not panic. Yes, Nvidia is involved in some litigation right now. Nvidia is being sued. Listen, when you become $1 billion company, when you become $100 million, when you become $1 million company, you're going to be sued. They're worth 3 trillion. So they're going to have lawsuits and things that happen. Don't be panicked. Don't be in a frenzy or in a tizzy about what's happening with Nvidia, right? It's cool, no big deal. That don't change the fundamentals. They're still super solid. Make sure you diversify. I say it every video because it's so important. Please don't have all your money wrap up into one stock. Pretty please. Pretty please. Guys, listen, you can always reach me. I want you to leave a comment down below. If you're watching this on replay, you got to hit that thumbs up button for me. Please just take a 2 seconds out and just tap that thumbs up as we try to bring you this information. It really helps put this information out, tells the YouTube algorithm, hey, you know what? This is a pretty good deal. Let's go ahead and send this out to more people because there's a lot of likes on it. That helps out, right? So I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you, Alvira, John Hudson, Ryan Turner, Jay the Third, other main Jay, Frank Ellis, Ziz. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Sherlock Holmes, Robert William. Thank you over here, Angela Thomas. Thank you, Teresa Simpson. All you guys, all of you. I just appreciate you guys being here. The channel would not be what the channel is if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for all of your intelligent information that you guys put in the chat. Because, hey, I don't know everything. I rely on you guys to help me answer some of these questions because I'm just one person trying to help as many people as possible. So I appreciate you being here. And please don't forget to drop me something in the chat, in the the comment section if you're watching this on replay. All right. And listen, we'll be back on here on Saturday. I got a good one lined up for Saturday. Some interesting stuff. It'll be funny. Okay. Hey, listen, as I always say, guys, individual stock ETF. But as I always say, the absolute best person to take care of the old you, the old you that don't want to keep working at that job anymore, the old you that still needs rent paid, the old you that still needs to pay those light bills, the old you that still needs transportation. The best person to take care of that old you is not the government, it's not the state, it's not the city, it's not the people at the old at the what do you call them, the senior citizens home. It's not your grandkids' responsibility. It's none of that. The best person who's going to take care of the 75-year-old you is the 45-year-old you, the young you. That's the best person to take care of the old you. So start today. All right. Appreciate you guys. Take good care of yourself. Take care of other people. Until the next video. Peace.